So you read today about an event called the Cambrian explosion. And this produces a great problem for evolutionists. How could creatures from every major group of animals be found in what is supposedly very, very early rock? They don't have any explanation for this. So what they have tried to do instead is they've tried to come up with a way that explains why there aren't intermediate forms. I mean, we've talked before about if there's going to be macroevolution, and when one species goes to another species to a completely different kind of species, there have to be some intermediate forms someplace that we should be able to see, and there aren't any. And so that's what we should see if gradualism is true, or neo-Darwinism is true, that if evolution is going to happen very slowly through mutations is what they're claiming. But now we've got a new idea called punctuated equilibrium. And so what these scientists are saying is that basically evolution is going to happen instead very, very quickly in really short bursts, and there's going to be long periods where there's no macroevolution in between. And so therefore, because this evolution is happening in such short bursts, there wasn't time, the conditions were not favorable during that time period for the fossils to form, and so that's why the intermediate links aren't there. Well, kind of sounds good on the surface, maybe. They theorize the mechanism for this is that there's a regulator gene that affects major changes in multiple systems at once. And so there's huge changes, a lot of mutations happening all at one time. This is also called big jumpers, or sometimes it's referred to as the return of the hopeful monsters. And so really there's a couple of problems with this. The first problem is that, let's go back to our discussion of the chances of having beneficial mutations that occur in consecutive order. First of all, we said beneficial mutations are very, very, very rare, and mutations aren't all that common to begin with. So having beneficial mutations that relate to each other, even occurring at all, the chances are so small that could even occur. Secondly, let's say that we did have a creature that experienced this, that you have a creature where his regulator genes said, okay, we're going to create all these changes and all these multiple systems of this creature at one time. And so that happens. What's that creature going to mate with? In order for creatures to mate, they have to have DNA that is compatible with each other. We've learned about that already. And so how's a creature going to have something to mate with that's going to be compatible? And to think that you'd have two creatures that would undergo these massive changes at the same time and then be able to mate with each other, I mean, that's really kind of far out there. I mean, the chances of that are just astronomical. And then when you think about how many different species that would have to happen in, the chances just get even crazier. It seems so unlikely that would be true. So let's make sure that you understand the difference here. Gradualism says evolution cannot happen fast. And so the missing links are just imperfections in the fossil record. Punctuated equilibrium says, well, evolution can't happen slowly. And that's why the missing links, that's why we can't find any missing links. They're not there because evolution happens too quickly. And so basically punctuated equilibrium is based on fossils that we don't find and genetic mechanisms that we've never seen happen before. Is that the way we did the scientific method? I thought the way that we did the scientific method was we made observations and then made hypotheses from that and did experiments from that. But here we're basing this on fossils that don't exist and genetic mechanisms that we've never seen. So I just want to make that point clear there. So gradualism says evolution can't happen fast. Punctuated equilibrium says it can't happen slowly. I actually agree with both of them. And I agree, because I don't think evolution can happen at all. So that's the difference between gradualism and punctuated equilibrium.